All righty. So with me starting the recording, I can tell you that one thing is this is going to be recorded and will be posted to the same site where you found the link to join this webinar within hopefully a week. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. My name is Ana Mondragon and I'm the Director of ESC and Stakeholder Supports. I have lots of my friends joining us this afternoon. So thank you all for joining us across the state. A couple housekeeping rules. We do have the chat enabled, so there's no way that you all can send a chat. We have the question and answer feature, and we encourage you all as questions come up, please pop those questions in there. We won't answer them live, but I do take them and divvy them up to the different presenters, and it helps us sometimes when we come back for clarification or provide some information and follow-up FAQs. So please, we encourage you to send your questions even though we do not answer them live. So all right. Well, we are here this afternoon to talk about all things results-driven accountability for federal programs across the state. So I'm going to turn it over to my first friend, Jennifer Patterson.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Patterson. I'm the Director of Special Population Strategic Supports and Reporting. And we help coordinate with performance-based monitoring and the special populations and special education monitoring divisions to put out RDA information. So the unmasked RDA information was released in TEAL today. There's going to be a to the administrator addressed letter that goes out sometime this afternoon. So that will have the same information that we're going to be sharing in this webinar. So this starts the 10 business day window for review of that information. My colleague, Dr. Wobina, is going to be walking through like what that looks like to get into TEAL and to access this information. But the fact that that information is in TEAL today and the TAA going out today is what starts the 10 business day window. That in the TAA, it does explain that window closes at 11:59 p.m. on October 3rd. So a couple of things about the information in the TAA. We are talking about the unmasked RDA data that's only available through the secure login through TEAL. So that is different than the masked data that is put out publicly in November. So unmasked data is student level data that we want to make sure that only is accessible to people with certain administrative privileges. And like I said, the mass data will be going out into a public report that comes out in November. There's one thing that doesn't always come out on the same day that the rest of the unmasked data is out, and that this year is the STAR Alt2 participation. That is out with the other indicator data today. However, the federally required elements, there's those 4 extra indicators for special education, those are not there yet. They will be in TEAL by October 31st. We will not be putting out another TAA about that. We will not be hosting another webinar about that. So please mark your calendars. We'll be pushing out information through the ESCs to let everybody know that that FRE data is there, but that just to let everybody know that we're still waiting on the 4 FRE indicators to get in. So not everything is there yet, but most of it is. If you have any questions during this 10 business day window, please reach out to your ESCs for support or to the performance-based monitoring division at TEA. They are the ones that can answer questions specific to the unmasked data. So please, the contact information for them is at the bottom of the TAA that's going out. Otherwise, please reach out to your ESC for support. And that is the information that's going out today on the TAA. But just to remind you, the unmasked RDA data for 2024 is in TEAL already today.
All righty. Thank you. Were there pages that you wanted to share, Jennifer, or was that coming a little bit later in the pages?
The web pages I'll do a little bit later.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to turn it over now to my friends Raul and Julia, who have joined us this afternoon, excuse me.
Yes. Thank you, Anna. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raul Alvarado, and I work as a monitoring specialist in the Division Special Population Monitoring. And with me is my teammate, Julia Ramirez. She's also a monitoring specialist for the same division. And today we're going to briefly discuss the indicator changes for bilingual ESL only, since the indicators for other special populations stayed the same as last year. And we have for indicators 1, 2, 3, and 4 for bilingual ESLs, they will be moving from report only to PL assignment for this year. And the rest of the indicators 5 through 12 for bilingual ESL stay the same as last year. So if you have any questions regarding the indicators for bilingual ESL or OSP, please click on the 2024 accountability manual that was attached in the agenda, and you need to go to page 137, and there you will find the information I mentioned previously. Or you may also send me an email. Thank you, and thank you, Anna.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raul. Appreciate it. Next, we have Dr. Webina, who's going to share with you a little bit about how to access some of the data that's being referred to this afternoon. There you go.
My screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, thank you, Zane.
All right. Okay, so now that the unmasked data are in TEAL, it's important to know be able to navigate and your way to that data. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through some steps and just show some screenshots of what things look like. All this information is available online on the TEA website, on the help desk area of the TEA website, and related to TEAL. So all of this information is available online, but I've just kind of captured it here so that give you a visual, so you can kind of make sense of what I'm going to be talking about. So really the first part is you're going to want to log into TEAL. That assumes that you have TEAL access. If you don't have TEAL access, then you're going to run a request access as a new user. And that'll walk you through. You'll go through a help desk ticket where you're requesting the access and your role, and then they should grant you that permission. You'll create a username and a password. So once you come to TEAL and you're able to input your username and password and you log in, then you're going to be presented with a screen where we want to get information. You want to make sure that you have access to the accountability application. And so this is taken from the TEA website, but it's basically kind of gives you some information about the accountability application that you'll need to request access to. Once you request access to that accountability application, you will only need to have just a standard TEAL user role in order to access the data in the accountability application. And so this is an example of what that would look like. Once you're logged in, you'll see that the app is right here in the middle. It just says accountability, and it will have your user. I have an admin role, but you would just have a standard user role. And so you'll click on that role, and that will actually take you to the accountability portal. And so once you get into the accountability portal, our application, you'll see a screen very similar to the screen that I'm showing here. Of course, dates will have been updated. What I'm showing you was taken in the past, so it'll have 2023. But as you go in from today going on, it would have 2024. So you're going to, on this top menu, you're going to want to click on the performance reporting tab. And once you click on that tab, then it's going to move you on to the next step, which it's going to present you with a screen like this. And there you have some options, some drop-down options. If you push on the plus sign on the right-hand side, you're going to want to come down to the third one, which is results-driven accountability, or RDA. And you're going to want to click on that plus sign, and that's going to expand that menu out. And once it expands it out, it's going to look like this. You're going to have information. It will say 2024 results-driven accountability, and it will have a hyperlink that you can then click on. And then so once you click on that hyperlink, it'll take you to the next screen. And this screen is where it's actually, you're going to be presented with all of the 2024 data. And so, like I said, these screenshots, I took them prior to today. So they read 2023, but it will read 2024 once you are actually in the accountability portal. And then you have some options here to select the different types of data. So you can select the unmasked district summary reports. And just keep in mind, there's a difference between, masked data and unmasked data. Unmasked data provides student level information, and this is confidential, that it has to be protected under FERPA. And so when you are accessing this information, you really want to make sure you don't have, if it's at home or at school, you don't have kids or other people who wouldn't have access to be around. And then, of course, then coming in November, then you'll have access to, we'll publicly post the masked data. And the masked data, again, adheres to FERPA requirements of student privacy. And so you can click on this unmasked data to see your summary report of your RDA information and performance levels. You can also click on the data download. And as it says here, is intended for technical staff. And this is where you could do different analyses and whatnot. But again, keep in mind, this is unmasked data, so it's very important to keep it protected. And then the last tab is the SPED SD indicator. So this is going to be all of the data for significant disproportionality. And whether a district has 1 year or 2 years or 3 years of significant disproportionality, where they've exceeded the risk ratio threshold of 2.5. And that kind of wraps up kind of walking you through getting permission and access into TEAL, logging into TEAL, the TEAL portal. And then once you're in TEAL, it's a secure platform. Then you want to get access to the accountability application. You might have access to other applications, but the way to think of TEAL is it's like a box, and you have to have a key to get in that box. And then once you get in that box, then you can put certain things in it that only you can access, or people similar to you can access. So accountability is one of those things that's in that box that has to be protected. And then you can even go inside it. And then once you get inside the accountability application, you kind of walk through these 3 different pages to be able to access the unmasked data. Keep in mind, once you're reviewing the data, if you see any discrepancies, any issues, even if you have questions about the data that you might kind of hold off, but then, you don't want that kind of to keep eating at you 3 months down the road, and then you ask that question, because we only have 10 business days to raise any concerns and request any changes to this data. So it's important that even if you don't know, or you think there might be something off, go ahead, contact performance reporting, ask them your question, because once that 10 business day deadline has passed, that closes, and then the data actually comes to our unit, the data and reporting unit, or analytics, and we start taking this data and combining it with other data and running the RDA determinations. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Zane. I appreciate it. And I know that there's a lot of maybe some newer people to this process. So we are going to get this recording up as soon as possible, so that if you're actually going through the TEAL application and you need a reminder on tabs that Zane has told you about, you'll have the recording and the visuals. So thank you, Zane.
Welcome.
Okay, so we have Dr. Maps here to talk with us this afternoon about SD, significant disproportionality.
Good afternoon. My name is David Maps, and I am one of the managers for technical assistance. And we are going to talk about the significant disproportionality 3 notification letters that will be going out. These notification letters will only go out to districts that have been identified as having significant disproportionality year 3. They will go out on October the 10th of 2024. and we will not have another webinar or a TAA that will go out prior to that. So when you receive those things, there are a couple of elements that must be captured within that notification letter. There are areas where you have to fill out. So one of the things that you will have to do is you will have to notify us, and it's a Qualtrics survey that you will have to fill out that will notify as to which year you are going to use your funds and how those funds are going to be committed. That is that 15% set aside. That is, you must do because you are SD year 3. So that must be filled out. And you also will start to work on your policy review and look at all of those things that you have and make sure that those things are uploaded so that we can access those in the legal framework. So we do have that policies, practices, and procedures review that is that it needs to be in the legal framework, as well as the 15% set aside. And I do believe that that is all. So that will go out. And when you receive that, again, you only have 30 days in order to designate which year the funds are going to come from and how it is that you're going to expend those funds within that year. So you'll fill out that Qualtrics survey. So that will be due sometime in November. And again, that's prior to another webinar or a TAA coming out in regards to that. So please be on the lookout for that if you think you may have significant disproportionality in year 3.
Thank you, Dr. Matz, for being here and sharing that with us. So my friend Lori is here, Lori Merrill, to talk a little bit about public reporting.
And actually, I'm going to turn the mic over to Jennifer first, because she's going to go over some resources, and then that way it'll flow right into what I'm going to share. So Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show 3 specific TEA web pages that are going to have a lot of information. If you have initial questions about your RDA information this year. So Anna, let me know once you can see my screen.
It just popped up. And just to
Okay.
FYI, these were also the links that were in the agenda if people are wondering where the links are.
Yeah, so the first resource is always going to go to the current year accountability manual, because results-driven accountability, or RDA, is a chapter within that manual. So the 2024 accountability manual web page has the entire accountability manual as a PDF, and it also breaks it down by chapter. So chapter 12 is the results-driven accountability chapter that has information about the data that went into TEAL today. And then Appendix K is one page by page all of the indicators for the 3 program areas that shows where the data comes from, what are applicable data collection periods, and how things are calculated, whether or not there's a report only or performance level assigned, if there's SD attached to it. So each of those indicators has its own page in Appendix K. There's a little bit of information about RDA on a couple other spots within the manual. I'll reference that in just a second. But the 2024 accountability manual is the home of accountability, and RDA is a chapter within that. Another link that's on the agenda is the results-driven accountability webpage that has a little bit more information and some guidance documents that are coming soon. This card right here takes you back to the other page, the 2024 accountability manual page. The middle card about RDA and reports will take you to the public reports that are posted in November, the mask reports. And then an RDA overview video is coming soon that will have, once those public reports are out, we'll put together a recording that walks through a general overview of RDA, but it's also going to show the performance level cut points, how many LEAs fell into each determination level for the 3 program areas, and some timelines for monitoring post reports. So that is coming soon. That will be pushed out on or after the date that the public reports come out. So that will be around the 14th, but not before. Also on the RDA page is the webinar that you're at today, the link to join the webinar. It's also on one other page, and I'm sure Anna will explain that. But this is a page that has this webinar on it and the agenda for today's webinar. You'll also see that there's another webinar we're going to put out the day that the public reports go live on November 14th. We will rejoin you and have another webinar. And the link to join that webinar is on the second line, and we'll post the agenda for that before the webinar happens. So we will have another one of these webinars for the field. It has some information, some standard information about planning for the future, and then it has a section called guidance documents. So you'll notice that all of the guidance documents for 2024 are coming soon. There's one live document, and that's the Ascend guidance document of how to get into Ascend. So that is the one live document that's linked right now. Everything else are resources that are currently in review and development and will be posted soon. We'll be communicating through the ESCs once these are posted so that you guys can find out and not have to check the web pages all the time. The last web page I wanted to show is this one called RDA documentation. You can find this as a link from the RDA page, but this page just shows all of the places in the accountability manual that reference RDA. So there's there's a link to the chapter itself, chapter 12, and the link to Appendix K, but then there's also a link to the accountability calendar chapter because RDA has some dates that are on that calendar. So just want to make sure that anybody who wants to know, like, where else in the accountability manual where will I see something about RDA, you'll find some dates in the accountability calendar, including today. And then there's some terms about RDA that are in the accountability glossary. So if you're not sure what a term is for RDA, you may find it in the accountability glossary. Not every single term, but the ones that we got feedback from our friends at the ESCs that these are the ones that they seem to get asked about more often than not. Of what does this mean? We put those terms in the accountability glossary. And again, you'll see that there are some RDA resources that are coming soon. We will let people know through the ESC outreach of when those documents are posted. And then you can always go back and see the previous year manuals and the accountability manual from 2023. And then prior to that, the RDA manuals, and then PBMES, which was the accountability system prior to RDA. All of that is on the RDA documentation page. So just wanted to show and visually show you some resources that are available right now, and just know that not everything is there just yet. So those were the web pages I wanted to feature, and then I'll pass it on to Lori.
Perfect, thank you. And so from one of those pages that Jennifer showed you, you can actually get to the public reporting, the public reports. So are you guys seeing, you're seeing the RDA? Awesome. Over here on the right side, you can get to where it says RDA data and reports. From there, you have the option of several levels of reports. Most want to find the district reports. Click here, select the correct school year. Make sure you've decided which way you'd like to search. If you have the CDN, use CDN, otherwise the district name. And from there, you can press continue, and then you'll have access to the public reports. We do try to upload the public RDA reports into Ascend. That usually has a little bit of lag time. So those that need the public reports sooner, as soon as you get the notification that public reports have posted in November, you can come to this page off of that main website and be able to access those public reports.
Awesome, thank you. And just a slight reminder, since Jennifer did show the link where we joined the webinar, that'll be the exact same link that says join the webinar that will be replaced with view the webinar. So once the webinar is processed and it's converted, it will be posted on that website, as well as the same link is over on the special education webinar site. So we'll put it in a couple different places for you all, but it'll always be housed on that RDA site where the webinars were located. And so the agenda also reminds you about the one that you saw posted for November 14th. And as soon as we have the final agenda, that will be posted prior to the webinar. It will also be a webinar that is recorded, and then the recording will be posted at the same time. So there were a few questions that came in, so thank you very much. If your name is in there, we'll follow up. If not, it'll be something that'll help us with guidance moving forward. So we appreciate your attendance this afternoon. Thank you, my friends, for joining me and sharing information across the state about RDA. And I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can close it out.